Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Eva, and for today's video, I will be doing a tutorial on how I created this soft smoky look using the Morphe 398 palette. I like to start off by using a facial toner. I do this to ensure that my face is completely clean before I apply any other products into my skin. I am using a cotton brown for this part here, and I also wait for my skin to be completely dry before moving on to the next step. Next, we're moving on to the most important step, which is something you should always do and never skip, no matter how little or how much makeup you plan on wearing, and that is moisturizer and primer. For moisturizer, I am using the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream Moisturizer. This is going to help lock in moisture and keep your skin hydrated and prevent your skin from looking too dry. For primer today, I'm using the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. This is going to help your makeup last longer and also protects your skin because it acts as a barrier between your skin and the foundation. For foundation today, I am using the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue foundation in the shade 110, and I will also be using their Seamless Beauty Sponge to apply it. This foundation is lightweight, it's medium to full coverage, so it is a buildable foundation and also delivers a blurring effect, which will help reduce the appearance of fine lines and skin imperfections. It has a matte finish, which is typically what I go for because I do have oily skin and tend to get oily throughout the day. And when it comes to applying my foundation, I have a personal preference of doing so with a beauty sponge rather than a foundation brush, just because I find it to be easier, quicker, it goes on smoother, and it's going to give me more of a flawless natural blend than if I were to use an actual foundation brush. For concealer today, I am using the Tarte Cosmetics Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral. And for my concealer, I like to apply it in areas of my face where I want to attract light to brighten. So I apply it under my eyes, on the center of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, on my chin area. And I also like to apply some on the outer corners of my eyes, dragging it upwards. And I do the same to the outer corners of my lips to give my face a lift effect. To blend everything out, I'm going back in with my beauty sponge just because I do want to make sure that I get a flawless finish. And I also make sure to take my time blending everything out so everything's nicely blended and nothing looks too harsh. Now moving on to cream contour. For cream contour today, I am using the Juvia's Place Contour Stick in the shade Barcelona. And I like to apply my contour in areas of my face where I want to create a shadow to give the appearance of a slimmer face. So I do apply it on the hollows of my cheekbones, on my forehead close to my hairline, on the sides of my nose, and on my jawline. When it comes to blending out my cream contour, I like to use a contour brush, and today I am using the Lexi 512 small contour brush. And when I'm blending it out, I don't like to brush it out, I like to dab it because I want to make sure I don't smudge or shift any of the foundation I have on. I also like to go back in with my beauty sponge to clean up and make sure that everything's nicely blended and nothing looks too harsh. So the key is to keep blending until everything's nicely blended. For my nose, it's the same process, but I do use a smaller contour brush. The one I'm using here, it's by a company named Andrew. It is part of a set, so unfortunately it does not have a number or a name, but I do the same thing. I go back in with my sponge to make sure everything's nicely blended. And now to set everything in place, I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder. And I'm going to use this to bake the areas of my face where I applied my concealer. So it will be under my eyes, on the center of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and on my chin area. Whatever's left over on my sponge, I use it to set the rest of my face. For bronzer today, I'm using the Benefit Cosmetics Hula Bronzer, and I will be applying it with the brush it came with. And my bronzer, I like to apply it in the same areas where I applied my cream contour. So on my cheeks, on my forehead, close to my hairline, a little bit on my jawline, and a little bit on the sides of my nose. Now I'm going back in with the Morphe M438 brush to dust off the excess baking powder I have left on my under eye area before I move on to blush. And for blush today, I am using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio in the shade Pink Passion with the Araceli Beauty Grande Cheek Brush. And I like to apply my blush on the apples of my cheeks and brush it upwards to blend it into my bronzer. And I also like to apply a little bit on the tip of my nose. For highlighter, I'm using the Araceli Beauty Tequila Highlighter in the shade Reposado, along with the Anastasia Beverly Hills 823 brush. And I'm going to apply my highlighter above my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, and on the tip of my nose. And this is pretty much it for the face. So now I'm going to grab the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Set Setting Spray to set my face before moving on to brows and eyeshadow. For brows today, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Caramel. And I like the natural shape and thickness of my brows, so I pretty much just fill them in. I like to start off by mapping out my brows. I do this by lining the bottom of my brows, and then I do the same to the top. Once I have lined up my brows, I go ahead and I start to fill them in, focusing mainly on the tail. And the brush I'm using for this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 12 brow brush. Whatever's left on the brush, I use it to fill in the inner brow area, and I make sure to do this very lightly because I want to make sure that my brows don't look squared. Then I grab the spoolie and I brush them out to make sure that they don't look too harsh, and I finish off my brows with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Tinted Brow Gel and the shade Caramel. And this is pretty much for brows, and that's the end result. To prep my lids today, I'm using the MAC Cosmetics Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre with the B Bella RG224 brush. And I like to start off by cleaning up underneath my brows and applying the primer on my entire lid. Once I have done that, I go ahead and grab the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush and I start to buff everything out to make sure everything's nicely blended. And I finish everything off with setting powder using the Morphe 504 brush. The palette I'm using for today's look is the Morphe Dare to Create 398 palette, and the first shade I'll be using today is the shade Define Me, and I'm using the Morphe R37 brush. This is going to be my transition shade, so I'm going to be focusing it right on my crease area and blending it upwards towards my brow bone area. And I'm doing windshield wiper motions to blend it out, and I'm also going back in and picking up more of the same shade to intensify the shade because I really want this shade to pop. The second shade I'm using today is the shade Vivid with the Morphe Y17 brush, and I'm going to focus this shade right on my crease area but below the first shade, so I'm not going to blend it upwards. I'm going to blend it towards the transition shade and also use the shade to add a little bit of dimension towards the outer corner of my eyes. Now I'm picking up the shade Vibrant with the Morphe Y19 brush, and I'm going to apply it on the outer corner to create depth. So this shade, I'm focusing it mainly on the outer V corner of my eyes, and I'm going in small circular motions to blend it out, but I'm also feathering it to fade it into the second shade so that it's a seamless transition from the second to the third shade. So now I'm going to pick up the Morphe R37 brush, which is the first brush I use. I'm not going to add any more product to it. I'm just going to use it with whatever's left on the brush. And I'm going to blend everything out to make sure that all the shades are blended in together and that nothing looks too harsh. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to pick up the shade Artistic with the Luxie 245 small shader brush. This is a shimmery shade, and I'm going to apply it all over the lid area, and I'm pretty much just patting it on. And I'm also going to pick up a little bit of the shade Spark, which is another shimmery shade, and I'm going to add it towards the outer corner lid area, and I'm going to blend both shimmery shades together. So for eyeliner today, I'm using the Araceli Beauty Ojos Perfectos Gel Eyeliner in the shade Chocolate, and I'm going to add it to my waterlines, top and bottom. And I'm going to go back in with the shade Vibrant with the Morphe M410 brush, and I'm going to apply it as close to my waterlines as I possibly can, and I'm going to blend it out with the shade Vivid using the Morphe Y19 brush. Now I'm gonna grab the Araceli Beauty Tequila Highlighter. This one is in the shade Blanco, and I'm going to apply it to the inner corner of my eyes and also my brow bone. I'm pretty much done with the eye look. All I need is to finish off the lashes. So I'm going to start off by curling my natural lashes before I apply mascara. And the mascara I'm going to be using today is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Lash Brag Mascara. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it to my top and bottom lashes and let them dry before adding my falsies. For lashes today, I'm using the Lash Bar Lashes in the style Ibiza. And now moving on to lips. I'm going to start off by lining my lips. I'm using the LA Girl Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Sable. And I'm going to finish it off with the Dose of Colors liquid matte lipstick in the shade Supernatural. Okay, so this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoy and like it. If you do, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And you can also leave a comment on suggestions for my next video or the next look I should create.